Good news this week for those of you who are tired of the outbreaks of frigid air into the northern plains. It's not like we're looking at springtime developing, but we're just seeing that northward shift of the coldest of the air. It's still basically a northwest flow pattern. The overall pattern has not really changed, and I still think there's going to be some more surges of colder weather, perhaps not quite as cold as what we've been through, but a definite, for the time being, northward shift of the cold air. And with that in mind, some parts of the southern United States for the first time, which have had a fairly hard winter as well, some of those areas are going to start to see the first signs of kind of a February pre-spring air mass, although it won't be consistent. It'll just be surges of that. As far as precipitation goes, you can forget about it in the western United States, but the areas of the eastern U.S. and the eastern corn bean belt will continue to be hit by periodic northeast moving low-pressure systems that will paint areas of rain and snow, and in some cases, a little bit of both. We start off the week with the really coldest air having gone northward. It's still pretty cold in the northern plains and the Great Lakes down into the mid-south. Jet stream still going pretty far south here. It's just that the general flow, it's weakened a little bit. We're not seeing those really strong systems this week passing through, so it's a little more relaxed. The jets actually kind of split a little bit as we go through the air this week. So that's going to keep the coldest weather locked up in central and northern Canada. Northern plains still relatively cold this week, but here comes one of those surges of warmth into the mid-south and the southeast at the end of the week. That will be fairly temporary. Pretty cold weather dropping down here into the southern Rockies, although as we get into the weekend, I look for a ridge and a surge of warmth out there. That's going to kind of isolate this little pocket of cold air in the higher elevations and allow for some fairly mild weather to get up into parts of Montana and the western Dakotas at the end of the week and the start of the weekend. Now, as we go into the second week now, this will be now the second half of February, still going to be relatively cold across the northern tier, but the frigid weather, the really cold stuff, except for maybe a day or two, will stay pretty much to the north. I do look for a second surge of warm air coming up in the south, and there will be at least a few signs, mostly in South Texas and from time to time in the southwest, of some fairly hot weather. Some temperatures may be approaching 90 degrees for at least a couple of spots. Western areas will be quite dry. Coming out this week, I do expect a major storm that will spread snow in places like Iowa and the Great Lakes, and then a transition into snow further south. Deep south, mostly rain on this one. Similar pattern for the next week. I'm not going to be quite so bold as to show where the demarcation will be, but very likely a rain southeast, snow southwest storm system. Not much precipitation this week or next week expected in the northern plains region, and virtually none out across the northern Rockies in the west.